There is more both of beauty and of raison d'etre in the works of nature than in those of art. At his best, man is the noblest of all animals. Separated from law and justice, he is the worst. Of the modes of persuasion furnished by the spoken word there are three kinds. The first kind depends on the personal character of the speaker, the second on putting the audience into a certain frame of mind, the third on the proof provided by the words of the speech itself. It is a part of probability that many improbable things will happen. The worst form of inequality is to try to make unequal things equal. All paid jobs absorb and degrade the mind. Nothing is what rocks dream about. Injustice results as much from treating unequals equally as from treating equals unequally. Tolerance and apathy are the last virtues of a dying society. Authority is no source for truth. The moral virtues, then, are produced in us neither by nature nor against nature. Nature, indeed, prepares in us the ground for their reception, but their complete formation is the product of habit. It is the mark of an educated mind to expect that amount of exactness which the nature of the particular subject admits. It is equally unreasonable to accept merely probable conclusions from a mathematician, and to demand strict demonstration from an orator. The hardest victory is the victory over self. It is evident that the state is a creation of nature, and that man is by nature a political animal. A promise made must be a promise kept. The antidote for 50 enemies is one friend. Aristocracy is that form of government in which education and discipline are qualifications for suffrage and office holding. The duty of rhetoric is to deal with such matters as we deliberate upon without arts or systems to guide us, in the hearing of persons who cannot take in at a glance a complicated argument or follow a long chain of reasoning. Yellow-colored objects appear to be gold. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. Plato is dear to me, but dearer still is truth. Whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god. That which is common to the greatest number has the least care bestowed upon it. The greatest thing by far is to have a command of metaphor. This alone cannot be imparted by another. It is the mark of genius, for to make good metaphors implies an eye for resemblances. The seat of the soul and the control of voluntary movement, in fact, of nervous functions in general, are to be sought in the heart. The brain is an organ of minor importance. Excellence is an art won by training and habituation. Why is it that all men who are outstanding in philosophy, poetry, or the arts are melancholic? It is their character indeed that makes people who they are, but it is by reason of their actions that they are happy or the reverse. Men pay most attention to what is their own, they care less for what is common, or, at any rate, they care for it only to the extent to which each is individually concerned. What is a friend? A single soul dwelling in two bodies. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Happiness belongs to the self-sufficient. People become house builders through building houses, harp players through playing the harp. We grow to be just by doing things which are just. For as the eyes of bats are to the blaze of day, so is the reason in our soul to the things which are by nature most evident of all. Our youth should also be educated with music and physical education. All proofs rest on premises. To write well, express yourself like the common people, but think like a wise man. Be a free thinker and don't accept everything you hear as truth. Be critical and evaluate what you believe in. The most beautiful colors laid on at random give less pleasure than a black and white drawing. The law is reason free from passion. A change in the shape of the body creates a change in the state of the soul. Friendship is a thing most necessary to life, since without friends no one would choose to live, though possessed of all other advantages. When the looms spin by themselves, we'll have no need for slaves. We deliberate not about ends, but about means. Suffering becomes beautiful when anyone bears great calamities with cheerfulness, not through insensibility, but through greatness of mind. Poetry is finer and more philosophical than history, for poetry expresses the universal, and history only the particular. With respect to the requirement of art, the probable impossible is always preferable to the improbable possible. Youth is easily deceived because it is quick to hope. The greatest crimes are caused by surfeit, not by want. We become just by the practice of just actions, self-controlled by exercising self-control, and courageous by performing acts of courage. It is better for a city to be governed by a good man than by good laws. Temperance and bravery, then, are ruined by excess and deficiency, but preserved by the mean. The greatest thing by far is to be a master of metaphor. It is the one thing that cannot be learned from others, and it is also a sign of genius, since a good metaphor implies an intuitive perception of the similarity of the dissimilar. Personal beauty requires that one should be tall. Little people may have charm and elegance, but beauty no. The virtue of justice consists in moderation, as regulated by wisdom. Life in the true sense is perceiving or thinking. Character is revealed through action. Happiness, then, is found to be something perfect and self-sufficient, being the end to which our actions are directed. It is simplicity that makes the uneducated more effective than the educated when addressing popular audiences. Every virtue is a mean between two extremes, each of which is a vice. All friendly feelings toward others come from the friendly feelings a person has for himself. The one exclusive sign of thorough knowledge is the power of teaching. First, have a definite, clear practical ideal, a goal, an objective. Second, have the necessary means to achieve your ends, wisdom, money, materials, and methods. Third, adjust all your means to that end.